Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and sometimes we give you the winner's edge, and we're able to turn your water into wine. We are in season 4, and this is episode number 11. And I have started a series about having a healthy relationship with money. Now, in any relationship, it has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, of course. And one of the things that I know about relationship, and most people, when we talk about relationship with money, think that they are bad with money. And I just want everybody to stop. Let's take a deep breath and let's take a look at it. I took some notes regarding how this relationship started. The problem isn't your self-control. It's not your math skills, or it's not the lack of budgeting apps on your phone. It's really your emotions. So if you take a step back, your belief, thoughts, and feelings about money is driven by your emotions, and your style is shaped by the development in your early childhood by your relationship with your parents or your primary caregiver. Your upbringing significantly shaped your money habits. Early experiences with money, such as learning about financial concepts, managing allowances, or witnessing parental financial behavior, can have a lasting effect on your spending, savings, and investment patterns as an adult. So, financial literacy and education is vital. We must begin with educating ourselves and educating our family, which including maybe our parents and our children. Okay, it's not a surprise that parents who openly discuss money with their children are more likely to develop good money habits as an adult. And it's not a stretch of the imagination if a child without it struggle to manage money. I am one of those individuals who did not receive financial literacy or financial education. I grew up in more of a survival mode. They pay bills and keep things moving. So there are different types of parents. So if you're a spendthrift or a frugal parent, your child may develop a tendency to overspend to compensate for perceived deprivation in their childhood. And you see that a whole lot, where people who buy things that they don't need to impress people they don't like with money they don't have. That's one of the quotes that I've been circling around in my head. So if you take a step back, why are you acting or spending your hard-earned money in certain ways? So let's say a parent who lavishly spends on their children might develop a sense of entitlement, and they struggle with their finances also. There have been, and I'm quite sure you may witness, or you might be one, who just because you grew up with not having a lot of finances around, you want to make sure that your children have the designer this and designer that, going to the private school here, et cetera, because you could actually afford to do that. But if they don't have responsibility for how you achieve this financial, I wouldn't call it a windfall, but lifestyle, then they perceive that they are entitled to that. Then you have a parent who are generous with charity. That child develops a strong desire to give back, to contribute to certain cause. And you see that in a whole lot. And I just think about, the kids who set up lemonade stands for people who are underprivileged, or let's say a person who had a fire they want to contribute their allowances or develop a fundraiser for different people, you see that basically they have learned that behavior because from a parent before them. And the thing, the key to it is by early financial responsibility, like a child receiving an allowance with managed chores that they are paid for, often learn financial independence, responsibility, and the value of money early on. And you can see that, in the old days, people used to get their kids to do paper routes, or they do the, grass cutting, or, they do rake yards or shovel snow, et cetera, to develop their skills to actually to make a purchase, like for their own bike, or, money for movies, et cetera. Which on the flip side of that, if a child do not have to get the opportunity to do that, they tend to struggle as an adult with budgeting and financial planning as adults. One of the things that we see, especially in if a person is struggling financially, tension and lack of money surrounding cause fear, anxiety about finances. Money as a source for love and security cause emotional attachment to money, which lead to spending or saving behavior that is not always rational. Imagine this. I've actually observed this when I did some mentoring in a high school, where you have, young men and young lady wearing the designer clothing, jewelry, some of it real, some of it's fake, or driving cars. And you see that this selection of items that they are trying to impress people that they are wealthy, or basically they got it going on, and rich, etc. And one of the things that you see it, especially when let's go for people who win the lottery. It's been a study that basically lottery winners within 3 to 5 years are totally broke. And the reason why is basically it's not finances that people struggle with. It's the nature of having abundance at the same time without understanding financial literacy or money management. And people who, let's say, if they grew up in a community that doesn't focus in on financial literacy, or see the budgeting, spending plan, investment, etc. They have the need to show that I am rich, which is totally different from being wealthy. And you find people in other locations that I can tell that they are wealthy because I know quality and I can see it. But if you didn't really understand what you're looking at, then you appear that basically they are what they call the millionaire next door, because they're not flashy and they're not actually seeing things like that. When you grew up around money, basically you have a different mindset. So it's not necessarily that if you have the desire for, whatever you want, jewelry, fashion, cars, etc., you have to understand what the value is. And my point is that I see a lot of, and right now, this is the week that the NFL is going to have their big draft. And you can tell who understand money and who actually are not used to money. And what I mean by that is that, yes, you can get a big designer necklace, so to speak. And I guarantee you, if you were trying to cash that in, you would not reap the same thing that you can get. Now, one of the things that I have seen, and I like this idea, which is, I guess, out of the box theory about fashion and jewelry, since I'm on the subject. Pharrell is having an auction of some of the stuff that he did with the Neptunes and some of the stuff that he was in his early rap days. And believe it or not, some of the pieces are have increased in value since 20 years ago that he had actually collected. But these are collectors. So if you could understand what I'm saying, there is a perceived value in a collector piece that's different from just having established a jewelry just for an event. So one of the things that I know for sure, and I had actually seen it, that with children who witness their parents struggle, they might internalize the anxiety and fear related to money. And I talked about, on my TikTok and Instagram about three things. And those three things, and I'm going to start before the half, and I'm going to continue after the half, is that when you are not comfortable with money, you have what I call the imposter syndrome with money. And the imposter syndrome, by definition, is basically that you internally feel inadequate for the status, the position, the education that you have, even though you're qualified in that position or to have those things. And the thing about it is that if you don't feel healthy and have a healthy relationship with money, you would tend to have that imposter syndrome, which means that basically you will actually try to be the one to get the new Hummer, the one that crawls, the one that I like, the flat black one. But my point is, you don't get it so because you really like it. You get it because you'll be the first one to have it, and that it's more of a show than actually a desire for it. You're not going to go off road with it. It's one of those things that you're trying to flaunt. The second thing I talked about is survivor's guilt. And that's basically when you achieve a certain status, whether let's say you're entertainer, rapper, let's say a sports figure, whether football, basketball, soccer, etc. And you create this entourage that you feel guilty about, leaving your girls or leaving your boys back on the block. One of the things I do, I want to pause that LeBron James to me has probably crushed my whole theme about the entourage, because he did it totally different. Everybody that played in that on this high school basketball team has a vital role or has branched off that has been totally successful independent of him. There was no hanger-ons and people who just sucking the air oxygen out the room without putting anything back into it. So there are healthy ways to have an entourage, and he's probably the one that the main exhibit. Everybody else that I look at, they probably handle it totally different and probably use it a different way. The next thing is financial money grief. And this is due to, you had money, you had a good job, what's going on with the federal government, that you lost your job, or there might be a business failure or a bad investment that hold you hostage. So we're going to take a quick break right now, and then we're going to get back into where I left off at, talking about developing healthy relationship with money. Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. We're talking about having a healthy relationship with money, or why we don't have a healthy relationship with money. And it all depends on what your environment. It's obvious that our parents are our first teachers. Therefore, their input and their relationship with money has a very good bearing on how you feel about money, whether there was a lack or whether there was a whole lot. Their way of dealing with money has a lot to do with. And the thing about it is that I could talk to you about budgeting all I want to, but if you don't have that internal relationship, which means basically, even though money is one of those threads that weaves through everything in life. From getting up in the morning, the bed you sleep in, the sheets, to going to the restroom, flushing the toilet, brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast, getting in your car, going to work. All those things that we don't think about is cost money, and how you do those things, which mean that your neighborhood, the car you drive, the work that you are employed by, or what you create, all those things, where you shop, what you put on, all those things have the common thread about money. So it's one of those things that is vital to life, that you have a comfortable, healthy relationship with it. Or if you don't tell your money where it's going, your money will show you where it went, which means that basically everything deals with cash flow. So basically, we're talking about your beliefs, your thoughts, and your feelings about money. Let's get a handle on that. And it happens throughout your childhood. It's amazing that everything that you go through, your relationship to how you grew up, is related to what you do as an adult. And having a healthy relationship with money will make you totally successful in life, because you will actually have what I call a spending plan. Other people call a budget. So that's what we're talking about. How do we overcome? Let's say that basically, if I grew up with my parents were spendthrifts or frugal, do I overspend to compensate for my perceived deprivation of my childhood? Or if I grew up with my parents spend lavishly, will I develop a sense of entitlement and still struggle with my finances? If I grew up with my parents who were always giving generously to charities, is that the reason why I have a desire to give back to different causes? All those things are different points of access to you. Excuse me. And I mentioned two things. Three actually. I mentioned on my TikTok and my Instagram last week about having the imposter syndrome. Is it because I don't feel comfortable with money that I am, have this tense and uneven relationship with it? Because I have achieved the education and the status, and now financially, I'm able to do some things that I always wanted to do, and I still have this easy feeling about it? Or do I have that survivor's guilt, which means that basically, since I have achieved those things, education wise, position, finance, and I have left my high school friends, my college friends, or or even someone from being a peer group of professionals, then now I am the supervisor of that group. Sometimes that survivor's guilt can cause me to feel uneasy about having a healthy relationship about money. And then I talk about financial money grief. A loss is a loss. And that's one of the things that a lot of people haven't really wrapped their head around, for the simple fact that when I talk about grief, then most of the time people think about loss of a family member, of loved ones, or a friend. But anytime you lose something, there is a period of grieving. And I talk about details. There are 5 areas of grief that I'm not going to get into right now. But if you lost your job, if you had a business that you started and the business failure, you made a bad investment, all those things could have held you hostage to your healthy relationship with money. So let's talk about reversing the curse. How do we get ourselves out of this? Because whether you grew up without money, or you grew up middle class, or you grew up with abundance of money, how that environment has a shape on you where you are right now. And if you are one of those people, and I when I was working in New York, and I just digress for a minute, there are people who are making 6 figures and 7 figures who are living paycheck to paycheck because of the standard of living in Manhattan. And that's the thing. You could, it's not really having a healthy relationship is not really how much money you actually bringing in. It's actually how are you allocating these funds, and are you actually having a balanced spending plan. And we're going to get a little bit into that. And think about it is that in order to have a healthy relationship, I think you should have a mantra that you actually tell yourself, because it's easy to focus on your bills and get lost in that and have a negative feeling about it. So mine is, one of the things that Ben Franklin said, early to bed, early to rise, make a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So my mantra is that basically I want to become healthy, wealthy, and wise. So when I do get into trying to slide into my funk, and what I mean by that, getting an unexpected bill that attached my, I call it my abundant fund. Most people call it their emergency fund. I can rise above that. And the thing about it is that you have to talk to yourself that, don't be so hard on yourself. You can achieve what you are planning that's in your mind, but it has to be a written plan. That's one of the things, what gets measured actually gets done. So just think about it. If you had a desire that this year was going to be your year that you were going to get in shape, that was your resolution. One of the first things you start doing is actually prepping yourself to get ready for that, which means that you identify your personal trainer, buying your workout outfit, shoes, etc. And with if a personal trainer is worth his weight, he will ask you, what are your expectations? Which means that basically, hey, I want to lose, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, or I want to prepare for a marathon this year. When you told him what you want, he will schedule a regimen based on where you are to where you want to go. So the same way with talking to a person about financial planning. If it was easy, then basically there would not be a gap between, financial literacy. And if it was so prevalent, it would be actually taught at elementary school and high school and maybe even college. And some of the things I have seen regarding financial education is being, I would say, sponsored by a financial institution who has a vital interest into steering you to certain products. And that's what I'm not trying to do here. So first of all, find some good books. Remember, books, podcasts, and seminars are good. But once you understand how you are emotionally attached to money, then you move on to those books, podcasts, and seminars to, further your education. And, one of the things that you really need to find is that creating a spending plan is the first thing, because you have to understand the cash flow and what are the what I call the needs, the wants, and I call savings and investing and reducing your debt and giving. And one of the things I suggest is basically the 40-30-20 plan, and able to actually track your spending. Remember, I think I'm going to show this again, is basically that's my, if my monthly income was $3,500, my 40% of that would be $1,750. The 30% of that would be the $1,050. My 20% is $700, and 10% will be $350. So out of that will construct my what I call a spending plan. So when you write it down, you can actually visualize where your money is going. And one of the things that I mentioned before, start tracking your spending daily and weekly. You'll be surprised some of the things that you are spending on are really not conducive to your diet, first of all, and your spending plan. And the thing about it is that if you're running a tight ship, which I know most of us are, because of inflation, and I think we are in a recession, even though they have the numbers saying that we're probably are heading in there. And one of the things that I want to just emphasize is that where you are, whether you're middle class, upper middle class, or consider to be poor, it dictates how you are affected by the inflation and recession. So first of all, as I summarize, to develop a healthy relationship with money, first you have to understand, how did I grow up? Did I grow up, with parents who are thrifty? Did I grow up with people who lavish money on? Or did I grow up with people that educated me to understand what money is and how it is important? So until next time, let's continue having this dialogue of a healthy relationship with money. Remember, you are important and your money is important. So let's take control of it. Until next time, my time is up right now, and I thank you for yours.